Deputy Commissioner K. Surendra sir will give a PPT presentation on GST law and procedures.
Is going to come or which has been affected in the recent past with basics of GST. Feedback that it is very difficult for small taxpayers and a large section of the trade to file it in time, and there is a technical glitches and all. So the government has come up with a new returns module which is going to be implemented from 1st April 2020. So that is coming financial year. So this will start. In this, the new return module will have only one return. Unlike the old returns where you have to file a GSTR 1 for your your output supplies, outward supplies, and then you have to file a GSTR 3B. This new return will have only one return which you have to file. And so there are options for the taxpayers to select which return they can take forward. That is the return 1, which is a normal return. This can be filed either monthly or quarterly. Most of the retailers who are doing only B2C trade, and if their turnover is less than 5 crores, they can make use of this returns. And then there is a Sugam return, which is little higher level, we can say. And so these are all the returns basically. And these returns have annexures. There are 2 annexures. Annexure 1, which is basically the invoice-wise uploading of your outward supplies. So this you can do it continuous uploading. There is no need of filing anything. As and when you want and you generate an invoice, you can fill the details in the ANX 1. This ANX 1 has to be uploaded. So if a supplier files an ANX 1, his recipient of supplies will get the invoice auto-populated in his ANX 2, which will form as a base for his input supplies. So ANX 2 will be auto-populated. This ANX 1 and ANX 2, whichever the details are there, it will be considered as automatically uploaded as filing. So the taxpayer has to ultimately file a return 1. This is the existing scheme of return basically. So now a return for a taxpayer to file a return, the purpose is to declare his liability. That is, whatever tax liability after deducting the input tax credit eligibility. He can deposit cash in his cash ledger, and finally a GSTR 3B return will be filed, which will be the payment of the taxes which is liable to be paid by him. So this is the existing scheme. So right now you have to file GSTR 1, then GSTR 2A is getting auto-populated, then cash ledger is getting auto-populated when you are paying your cash, and then finally when you are filing your GSTR 3B, the payment is being credited to the government account, and it is considered that you have filed the return for the tax period. The new scheme of things is that you have to upload ANX 1's details in ANX 1, which is to be uploaded as in the frequency which you desire. Then ANX 2 for ITC credit will be automatically populated for your recipients. And then cash ledger as it is, you have to pay cashes, and then it will be updated with the deposit or the credit, debit or credit, and then payment is through filing of GST returns.
The moment an invoice is uploaded, the return is getting generated. The system generated. So to that extent, the burden of the taxpayer is reduced. So this is the advantage of the new return system. The monthly return, your ANX 2, which is nothing but the inward receipts, these things will get automatically generated. So that is the advantage, and we have tried out this system on a pilot basis about a month, 1.5 months back, and substantial number of associates from all over Telangana, they have joined us. I'm sure some of them must be in this audience also. And you have seen how simple it is and how useful it is going to be. And I would request the tech-savvy associates and the taxpayer associations to further educate their members so that the introduction of these new returns will become a grand success from as and when it is rolled out from 1st of April. So this is an important reform. This is a taxpayer-friendly measure taken by Government of India. So this should be utilized and it should be ensured that it will be a success.
Across Hyderabad and Telangana. Still the online model for filing is available and you can try trial version till April 1st also. And it is for your benefit that you can know how the returns have to be filed and how you have to maintain your accounts and your details. You can try ANX 1 filing and you can try with your recipient currently whom you are doing your business with, and you can check whether their input ledger is getting added with the output invoices you are receiving. So still you can do the trial version and you can do it. And on the day of 1st April, all those things which you have tried through your login will be becoming redundant and it will be deleted and nothing will be kept in records. From 1st April, it will be your official legal returns which you will be filing. And those are all the records which will be maintained in the GST. So, as we have already said, the main features are, one is there is an option for taxpayers who are having annual turnover of up to 5 crore for filing quarterly returns, which is for B2C supplies only, people who are doing only B2C supplies, and Sugam, which is for people who are doing B2C and B2B, they can file it quarterly. And also to little bit take care of the technical glitches also on due dates of filing, there has been a staggered dates of filing which has been decided. So for monthly filers it will be 20th of every month, and for the quarterly filers it will be the 25th of the month after the quarter ends, every quarter ends. And also the GSTN has rolled out an offline matching tool, so that also you can check and you can download and you can try its utility also. So this is the returns which are being decided for the new thing. The basic return will be Sahaj. As I already told, it is for B2C people. Then it will be Sugam. Then there will be return once, which is quarterly. So as Sir has also already told, the basic details will be auto-populated. So as and when any trade or taxpayer uploads any detail in ANX 1, his own return 1 will also get auto-populated with output liability or his tax liability, and his recipient will get his input tax credit auto-populated in ANX 2 and also in his survey and all. Any person, a recipient who is having an issue in checking his input tax credit which he has received, if there is any issue, then he can either edit, amend, option for edit. The recipient can either accept the invoice which is uploaded by his supplier, or he can reject it. So if invoice is rejected, the invoice will go back to his supplier and will tell that there is some discrepancy. The recipient can take the credit of it. And so as we already told, there is no separate filing. It has to be, return 2 has to be filed, return 1 has to be filed, then ANX 1 and 2 is conducted. Any mistakes which has been happened in the return, the taxpayer can amend the returns. Right now it is not there, you have to account it in the next return. Basically, if there is any mistake of liability or input tax credit, you have to adjust the details in the next return to be filed. But here, you will have an opportunity to amend the return itself. And there will be a correlation between your outward supplies and your returns. What is your outward supplies in ANX 1? Whether the return is capturing all the details, that also will be captured. Right now the GSTR 1 and 3B is not being correlated. And so that is it. And also you will have auto-populated credit. And also you can take provisional credit if suppose your recipient has not, supplier has not uploaded invoices, you can take a provisional credit and it will be separately tabulated or shown. And another new feature or it will be a helpful feature for the trade among yourself itself is that you will be knowing whether your supplier is filing his returns properly. So whenever you are seeing your ANX 2, you can know whether from whom you have purchased the goods, whether he has filed his returns. Because now major problem is that the person who is supplying the goods is not filing the returns properly, so because of which you are not able to take the credit, even though you are filing your returns properly. So here there will be something called as, they are developing that credit rating also, that whoever is, whether they are filing their returns properly or not. So you can know how return filing pattern of your supplier also, so that you can check for any alternative supplier if you have issue with your supplier, because you will know his return filing pattern.
You are divested of the burden of keeping track of all your invoices in one lot and entering them on a particular day for filing your monthly return. You are provided a month-long, day-to-day, real-time uploading of invoices. So the burden comes down that much for you. Keeping track of invoices, losing some of the invoices, and then facing legal hazards because of non-compliance, because of under-reporting. All these things will be a matter of past. So you can upload your invoices on real-time basis. And one more thing is, all that you have to require is uploading the invoice. And if you correctly upload the invoice, the return is correctly generated. So the burden of ensuring the correctness of the return is reduced to uploading of invoice properly. So to that extent, your burden is lessened, and not only that, your compliance cost also will come down to that extent. You are not required to have a battery of tax professionals to look into your invoices or to transactions at the end of the month and ensure that a correct return is generated. Merely by uploading your invoices, you will get a proper return. So your compliance cost, your cost of filing returns will come down. So this is the impact of the new returns which are going to be rolled out.
One is Sugam, one is Sahaj, and another is normal return one. So how frequently anybody can change the return and the filing frequency, return filing frequency. One is during a financial year. If suppose you at the start of the financial year, let's say 1st April 2020, you are deciding you are eligible for filing quarterly returns, and you are deciding you are going to file quarterly returns. If you have done that, you cannot change the filing frequency during the year, financial year. At the next year, you can change it to monthly or vice versa. And changing of return type during a year is allowed in certain conditions. So one is actually a person who is filing a lower form of return. For example, the Sahaj who is doing only business, B2C business, they can upgrade themselves if they have any B2B business. So they can change it from either Sahaj to Sugam or return 1 with a quarterly filing. Similarly, the Sugam also, they can make it upgrade themselves to return 1 on a quarterly basis. So there is no change between quarterly and monthly returns. So the basic thing is anybody who has started filing a Sahaj return can upgrade themselves to Sugam or return 1 on a quarterly basis. And whoever is filing a Sugam return can upgrade themselves to a return 1 on a quarterly basis. So this is allowed within a, you have to check at the time of filing return 1, and if it is fine, you have to file it. And that is the only thing. And then there is a matching tool which will be, it has been given by GST network. So you can check between your purchase register and your input supply, whether it is correct, whether your suppliers have uploaded all their invoices, and whether you are getting all the credit which is eligible. So there is a tool which is being developed by GST. Already you have told that there is a trial available for right now in GST network, and that is available in an offline tool. There is a new returns offline tool which is containing AMX1 and AMX2. AMX1 you have to dummy entries, you can check with some dummy GST registration numbers, and then you can check whether that GST registration is getting their AMX1 populated and all. So these things you can check with you can form a group of your suppliers and business, 2-3 people, and you can check it, and you can try and do it so that you will be ready on rolling up this new return tool, which is basically whether you can maintain your purchase register in a particular format. Then you can use this tool and check whether you have got all the input tax credit which you are due from your purchase register and whatever there in the AMX tool. So this you can check. And AMX1 MS Excel template is also there, and CSV template is also there, and purchase register template is also there. So these are all the offline tools which are available in GST network. You can go and check it out. So, during the trial run, whatever you are declaring, it will be dummy data only, and nothing will be captured or will be maintained forever. At the time of launching of this, whatever data you have been entered will be deleted, and there will not be any liability due to this data. But simultaneously, whenever you are trying this tool also, you have to file the current returns. That is your original liability and GST liability and your input tax eligibility. You have to file in the existing return types. And so after the trial period is over, GST network will completely erase whatever has happened in this offline return tool till that time. And from 1st April, when it is when the original page, when the new returns are coming into operation, then onwards you can shift to new returns.
So this is actually I would like to tell that whatever once the actual return system is rolled out, so you can enter dummy transactions and try out the new return. So I appeal to the taxpayer associations also to popularize these new returns as much as possible. The department has done its bit. We have done the pilot run, but the process has to continue so that more and more people will be enlightened, and we will not have, again a lag in introduction of the new returns. So this is an appeal to all the taxpayer associations to chip in and do it.
Basically, the process of how an ANX 1 and 2 can be uploaded is this only. ANX 1 file and upload it again. So that is one thing. And then once an ANX 1 is filed by any supplier, there will be an ANX 2 will get auto-populated for their recipients who the taxpayer is supplying to. So he can check his ANX 2 and whether he can accept it or reject it, and he can try that out so that they will know what is their input tax liability, input tax credit liability. And then there is a matching tool for the suppliers or any taxpayer can use the matching tool and see whether their purchase register and the ANX 2 what is being populated is correlated and it is correct, whether any invoices are missing or any details are proper and all. Then based on that you can either accept or reject in the ANX 2 module. Then finally ANX 2 upload you can finish it, and these two will be proper, and at the time once you are satisfied. So any big mega taxpayers who are, the government will automatically know, like it will be, government also will know, and the returns also will get auto-populated, that nothing will be missed out. So the invoice itself is raised to the system, so that everything will be captured. E-way will also, irrespective of the turnover limits, there are certain group of people who have to get registered themselves. So that is being declared in section 24. Everybody will be knowing. Most of them are like always interstate. Anybody who is liable for paying IGST, they have to get themselves registered. And anybody who has to pay goods and GST under reverse charge, they have to be registered. And TDS persons and e-commerce operators, these are all certain people who have to get themselves registered irrespective of
violation of law. So it is our effort to ensure that people are more and more cognizant and people are updated more about the provisions of GST. So I would request all the assessees to keep in mind the compulsory registration requirements, because people who are falling within less than the threshold, that is 10 lakh limit, 20 lakh limit, 40 lakh limit, they are also required to take registration to ensure that there would be no adverse fallout for violation.
the tax officer will initiate cancellation. In case of the taxpayer initiating cancellation, the taxpayer has to file all the returns till the time of his applying for cancellation, and he has to dispose of all his liability. Then he can apply for a cancellation if he is willing to cancel. Then the same will be processed by the corresponding jurisdictional officer, either it's state or center. Then his registration will be cancelled. In case of tax officer initiating a cancellation, this is termed as low amount of cancellation in the law. That is basically will be happening when a taxpayer has not filed 6 consecutive tax returns if he is a monthly taxpayer, monthly return filer, or 3 consecutive returns if he is a compulsion taxpayer. So once the returns are not filed, the taxpayer will initiate a cancellation process, which will go to the tax officer will initiate a cancellation process, and it will go to the taxpayer, and he has to respond within 7 days by filing all the returns which he has not filed and disposing of all his liabilities. And then he has to give a reason that his registration doesn't need to be cancelled. In that case, the cancellation process will be stopped and it will not be cancelled. If not, after giving personal hearing and all the natural justice protocols, then the registrations will be cancelled.
So this is an important measure which all taxpayers should note. if you fail to furnish, so this will entail so many issues, like your credit cannot be utilized, the existing credit will not be utilized, your transactions cannot happen, your e-bills cannot be generated. It will lead to your business coming to a standstill. So the assessees should keep this in mind, the taxpayers should keep in mind and ensure that returns are filed regularly to avoid all these adverse consequences. You are aware that if, some of the people must be, thinking that, okay, if one registration is gone, they will take one more registration. But that way, the transition of credit will not take place. The verification point will be rejected. The new registration will be rejected. So there is no solution. Once it is suo cancelled a registration, the only alternative is to face the late fee, to face the penalty, to face all the adverse consequences. So I would request all the taxpayers to note these provisions and comply with them without
interest and penalty if any. Then the revocation will be coming to the jurisdictional assistant commissioner. Then the assistant commissioner, after checking everything, he can give a revocation. And as of now, the law is that within 30 days the revocation application has to be filed. But in this budget, there is a clause introduced wherein this 30 days can be extended further by 30 days by Joint Commissioner or Additional Commissioner, and another 30 days by Commissioner, provided the taxpayer has a valid reasons why he couldn't file the revocation application within the initial 30 days. But this is yet to be notified. So as of now, the law stands that within 30 days you have to file for revocation.
See, this is about SIC provision, which provides that if 2 consecutive returns are not filed, the email bill generation facility will be blocked by the department. That would ensure that the assessee, the taxpayer, is not able to generate e-way bills for outward supplies, and also he is not enabled to receive also supplies because his supplier will not be able to generate e-way bill for supplying to this defaulter assessee. So it is not 6 returns consecutively which will create problems for running the business. Even 2 consecutive returns not being filed also would ensure that the business activity comes to a standstill. That is why I mentioned in the inaugural remarks that it is a good and simple tax for the tax administrator also, and it is a bad, punishing tax for the delinquent taxpayer. For a good, applying assessee, it is a good simple.
Scenarios of situations when a refund will be arising is, one is the taxpayer is indulged in supplying of zero rated supply, either the exports or supplying to SEZ, which is considered liable for a lesser tax tax rate. So this, and in case if there is an excess cash balance, these are all the 3 major categories in which situations in which the refund scenario will arise. And from the beginning, actually GST is envisaged that refunds module and everything in GST will be online or electronic mode only, and the interface between taxpayer and the tax officer has to be as minimum as possible. So at the rollout of GST itself, that refund of export of goods with payment of taxes have been made completely online, which was processed by customs across the country. Initially, there was the refund which is being processed by the GST officer was part online and part offline, where the documents have to be provided by the refund applicant offline to the department. But from this, it has been completely made online, and the refund which is being processed by GST officers is also completely online right now, and all the documents have to be uploaded by the applicants in the GST portal itself. In case of accumulated ITC, you can apply for refund if you are doing a zero rated supply, or you are having an inverted duty structure, then you can file for a refund of ITC accumulation, and that will be done in the portal only, and it has to be processed within 9 days, and you can apply for refund within 2 years from the date on which the refund becomes eligible. this has been a little improvement from letter like this, where you have to file within 1 year that refund which is due for you. So now you have 2 years time to file refund, and the refund is completely online and you will delay payment of taxes. So in GST, the tax is considered to be paid only when a GST return is filed for the tax period. Have a credit balance, then they should be paying interest only on the balance cash which has to be paid on the date of payment. But the fact is that the Act, the legal position as of now stands that interest is chargeable under Section 50 on the tax liability. It doesn't have a demarcation between cash liability or the credit liability. So as of now, it has to be paid on the complete tax liability. However, the GST Council has decided to amend the Act. The amendment is underway. All the state legislatures have to enact their amendment in the SGST Act also. Then the amendment will be notified and will be made in Section 16(4). This section deals with actually how an ITC can be taken by a taxpayer. So this is basically whenever a taxpayer has some invoice on which he is eligible for input tax, he has to, most of the cases it will be happen that he will account that invoice in the month in which the invoice was raised by his supplier. However, there are occasions that you might take a credit at a later part of time. But this you have to, there is a condition by Section 16(4) by which suppose a last financial year some invoice was raised by your supplier on you and you have received the goods. However, if you have not taken that credit within the time, you have time only till the next year September returns due date or annual returns filing date, whichever is earlier. And right now, for example, for financial year 2017-18, if you have got any inputs in those years, in that year, then you have to take that credit before 30th April 2019. Should have been done. If you have taken any input tax credit pertaining to the year financial year 2017-18, then that credit becomes ineligible for you. Simultaneously, for 18-19, the due date for the last date for taking credit is 20th October 2019. So you cannot take any credit on your inputs which has been received for the year 2018-19 beyond 20th October 2019, which is ineligible. So right now the department has started taking action that wherever these ineligible credit is there, they have started writing to the taxpayers. So you check your accounts and you can also check and you can reverse the credit with interest.
I would request all taxpayers to keep this provision in mind, because the credit will be an essential condition of any taxation statute, because expediency is the watchword in taxation. So everyone, all taxpayers should follow the timelines set in a taxation statute. And this is one such timeline which will make you ineligible to avail of your genuinely paid support tax as credit. So this should be kept in mind, and 1 year provision which is allowed for taking credit should be meticulously.
This provision prohibits, this is being introduced during October 2019, recently only, that for the 2 months of October and November, you can take credit 20% more than what is being reflected in your GSTR 2A. That means your suppliers, whoever has uploaded their output invoices in GSTR 1 and that is reflecting in your GSTR 2A, if suppose that amount is 100, and if suppose some of your suppliers have not filed their GSTR returns 1 properly and it is not reflecting in your 2A, you can extend your credit to the limit of 120 rupees only. That is the 20% bandwidth is allowed for taking provisionally the credit which is not being invoices which is not accounted by your supplier. And this further has been amended, and from the month of December 2019, this leverage is given only for 10%. So from 2019 onwards, you can take input tax credit in your GSTR 3B 10% more than what is reflecting in your GSTR 2A.
The new returns are going to enable you to track on a real-time basis the uploading of ANX1 by your supplier. Earlier you were not having this facility. You were to wait till the end of the month, or if he is a quarterly return filer, till the end of the quarter to verify whether he has filed the return and whether the GSTR one is uploaded, and then only you will come to know whether he has paid tax on his liability, and then your credit will become legal. But now you can track your supplier's behavior on a real-time basis, because ANX 1 is updated on a daily basis. So to that extent, you can put pressure on your supplier and ensure that what is legally due to you will come to you. So this provision is another which has to be carefully kept in mind by the taxpayers to ensure that the interests do not suffer.
Is nothing but the transitional credit which a taxpayer can be taking from a previous return. So that last date was initially was 27/12/2017. However, it was again and avail the credit which was available for them in the erstwhile return, but couldn't do it only due to technical glitches. Then this window is open for them now also. However, you have to give proof that you tried at that time, and they will have screenshot of your error messages or any system glitches at that time. All those things you have to give, and then with the supporting documents, if you come and try to you represent to other department, then it will be taken up and you will be eligible to file the crime one now, and you can take the credit which has been available in the S12 credit.
A representative of the taxpayers who are here, a representative who has done their bit for tax compliance and who has paid the highest tax in the previous year from this division. This is from Mr. Desai Brothers. They have paid 160 crores during 2018-19, and I request Shri Sanjay Kumar would like to honor the assessee.
Please raise your hands. Should announce the taxpayer should announce the name of the taxpayer assessing.
తెలుగులో కూడా మాట్లాడచ్చు, మీరు హిందీ కానీ తెలుగు కానీ ఏదైనా.
కానీ ఇంగ్లీష్ కానీ స్టూడెంట్ ఇంగ్లీష్ క్లాస్లో కూర్చున్నట్టుగా కొంచెం ఎందుకో కొద్దిగా ఆడగా అనిపించింది. కానీ ఇంత ఇంపార్టెంట్ జిఎస్టీ పైన తెలుగులో డిస్కస్ చేసుకుంటే ఇంకా బాగుండేది అనిపించింది సార్ మాకు. ఇంకా కొన్ని ఎక్కువ విషయాలు గ్రహించడానికి అదే సార్. సార్ చాలా మందికి కూడా జిఎస్టీ అనగానే ఒక గుండెల్లో గుబులు, అది ఏంటో ఇది అర్థం కాని పరిస్థితి. అసలు దేని మీద ట్యాక్స్ వేస్తున్నారు, దేని మీద వేయట్లేదు, ఎంత కట్టాలో ఎక్కడ పోయినా కానీ బిల్ అడిగితే జిఎస్టీ అంటారు. కొంచెం అదంతా పెద్ద సబ్జెక్ట్ ఇది. ఇంత పెద్ద సబ్జెక్ట్ని మన తెలుగు దాంట్లో జిల్లాలో తెలుగులో మాట్లాడుకుంటే, తెలుగులో ఎక్కువగా అవేర్నెస్ తీసుకొస్తే బాగుంటుంది అనిపించింది.
ఇంట్రెస్ట్ తెలుసు, మేము తెలుగులో మాట్లాడుతున్నాము. ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే ఇది అంత కూడదు అనేది చాలా సింపుల్. ఇప్పుడు మీకు ఏదైనా ఒక వ్యాపార ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ అన్నమాట, వ్యాపారం సంబంధించి మీరు ఏ లావాదేవీలు జరిపినా కానీ దానిలో వచ్చిన మీ వాల్యూ అడిషన్ అంటారు. ఏంటి, మీరు కొన్న వాటి వాల్యూ మీద మీరు ఎంతైతే వాల్యూ అడిషన్ చేస్తారు అంటే విలువను జోడిస్తారు కదా. మీరు వ్యాపారంలో ఏం చేస్తారు, ఒక 100 రూపాయలకి మీరు ఇన్పుట్స్ కొంటే దానికి విలువని జోడించి దాన్ని అమ్ముతారు. మళ్ళీ ఆ విలువను ఏదైతే మీరు జోడిస్తున్నారో ఆ విలువ మీదే మీకు జిఎస్టీ పడుతుంది. అలా కాకుండా మీరు ఫైనాన్షియల్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ ఉంటాయి, మీరు బ్యాంక్లో డిపాజిట్స్ వేసుకుంటారు, లేకుంటే లోన్స్ ఇస్తారు, ఇటువంటి వాటి మీద జిఎస్టీ ఉండదు. సో ఏ ఇన్కమ్ అయినా కానీ మీకు
మార్కెట్కి వచ్చిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ వాడు అక్కడ జిఎస్టీ చేస్తున్నాడు, మళ్ళీ రిటైల్కి వచ్చిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ జిఎస్టీ అంటున్నారు. సో అది కూడా కొంచెము
అంటే మేడం ఇక్కడ మేము గమనించాల్సింది ఏంటంటే మనము
సో ఆ శాలరీ పైన కూడా మీకు జిఎస్టీ ఇస్తూ ఉంటాం, మేము పే చేస్తూ ఉంటాం. అయితే ఇక్కడ కొన్ని డిపార్ట్మెంట్స్ ఎట్లా ఉన్నాయి సార్ అంటే లోకల్గా ట్యాక్స్ మీద ట్యాక్స్ అనేది ఒక ట్యాక్స్ పడిన తర్వాత ఆ ట్యాక్స్ పైన ఇంకొక ట్యాక్స్ అనేది ఉండదని నేను భావిస్తున్నాను. ఈజ్ ఇట్ రైట్ ఆర్ నాట్? బట్ వాటెవర్ కానీ ఇక్కడ కొన్ని డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఎట్లా అయిపోయినాయి అంటే శాలరీ ఇస్తారు, శాలరీ పైన ఈపీఎఫ్, మళ్ళీ ఈఎస్ఐ, మళ్ళీ ఏజెన్సీ కమిషన్. సో ఇవన్నీ టోటల్ చేసిన తర్వాత వచ్చిన దాని మీద
వ్యాపారస్తులు ఎక్కడైతే విలువ జోడించి లాభం కానీ నష్టం వచ్చినా కానీ విలువ జోడిస్తే ఆ విలువ జోడించిన విలువ మీద మేము జిఎస్టీ కలెక్ట్ చేస్తాం. కానీ ఒక ఎంప్లాయీ శాలరీ మీద జిఎస్టీ అనేది ఉండదు. మరి మీరు
అంటే ఇది ప్రైవేట్ మీకు అంటే ఇది గవర్నమెంట్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ శాలరీస్ ఇస్తూ ఉంటారు కదా సార్.
దేని జిఎస్టీ పడుతుంది, దేని పడకూడదు అనేది మీకు క్లారిఫై చేస్తారు. ఈ స్పెసిఫిక్ కేసు మిగతా క్వశ్చన్స్ కూడా ఉన్నాయి కదా, మీరు డైరెక్ట్గా వచ్చి మీరు డివిజన్లో నేను చెప్పాను వాళ్ళకి, మిమ్మల్ని క్లారిఫై చేస్తాను. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Basically, we are facing certain issues in every month filing. And this is a precise call the second day after 20th of every month, stating that what is the filing status. But in the core area, we have been coming across very so many issues. We on the vendor side deal with large scale suppliers as well as small scale suppliers. And for the GST, the small scale suppliers are liable for quarterly filing, but they are asked to pay monthly. What is the root cause level for quarterly filing? Why shouldn't they be underweight for the monthly filing as they are asked to pay? The payment is going by the monthly base, but the filing is going by the quarterly base. So what is the root cause level for implementing this kind of policy?
The government has to run on a day-to-day basis. So monthly payment of duty tax is mandatory for every month. But considering that the compliance difficulty is much more for small associates, they have provided them with the facility of filing quarterly returns. So we should not confuse the monthly payment with quarterly return. That is a facility to make it easy for them to file returns. But money has to come because between IGS, between the center and state, the center is supposed to transfer the money to states on a monthly basis. So the central government cannot wait until the end of the quarter to distribute money to the state governments from the IGS. Because state governments have to run, state governments have to incur their expenditure, and governments have to run their welfare schemes or capital expenditure or multiple expenditures. So you understand the logic of monthly payment, but quarterly return is a facility, just to ensure that it is easy for them to file.
So,
ITC credit. In that case, we will take a
but the only support, transparent support, what the nation, what the government should provide to the
Understand. So that is why I said it is not the responsibility of the government to ensure discipline of your supply. Market forces should take over. Market forces should ensure that good practices are prevalent in the market. You cannot.
Taking out 2 minutes of time for this. Coming down to my reality of existing business, I do have a person who supplies me pure silk saree, but he's totally illiterate.
So I have suggested the government that time in 1997 to put the excise duty on MRP. So they have accepted my suggestion and they have started putting the excise duty on MRP. If suppose MRP is 100 rupees, they used to pay excise duty on 65% of the MRP. Now after this GST, that has been gone. Now government is getting the GST on the selling price, not on MRP. So nowadays I am fighting for this proposal from last 2 years, and government has brought the trade margin cap on the cancer drugs, on stunt and knee also. Now I am trying to bring the entire of the product to bring the trade margin cap on the medicines. That is under process. So my suggestion is, can we put the excise GST on MRP so that government will get more revenue at lower rate and people will get benefited by lower price, because if they used to pay GST on MRP, they will put normal price. Now there is no control on the MRP, so manufacturers are putting MRP up normal. In some cases 100 rupees costing is there of medicines, they are putting 4,000 MRP. That has been confirmed by the pharma secretary also. That is true. And pharma secretary and NPP chairman also, they have confirmed it. So my suggestion, can you put the GST on MRP.
Can I look at it? We will.
This is very valid point, sir.
Right. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We from Hyderabad Commissionerate, myself, Chief Commissioner Malikarya, my Commissioner Mr. N. Sridhar, and his team of officers, we are all here today, and we had a very, very fruitful and interactive session with the trade and industry of Nizamabad. We are all here to clear the doubts and to meet our stakeholders in nation building for clearing their doubts and resolving their problems. Whatever issues were discussed here have educated us, and they have, I'm sure it has cleared a lot of confusion and apprehension in the minds of taxpayers. There is a new return which is going to be rolled out from 1st of April. We had a very exhaustive presentation, and we have tried to educate all the stakeholders on this aspect. Thank you. The Honorable Finance Minister was in Hyderabad on 16th of this month, and it was her initiative that we are all here, and we've been asked to do these outreach programs and bring GST to every district, to the doorstep of every taxpayer. Thank you.